In this lesson, you guys will be able to determine the best method to solve a quadratic equation in one variable. All right, so we're going to solve the quadratic equation using any appropriate method, and there's three methods. There is factoring, which we spent quite a bit of time, pretty much the whole first marking period of factoring. There are the square root methods. All right. In other words, if there's no b, in other words, if b is 0, then you can use the square root method if you want. No pressure. And last but not least, what you just learned is the quadratic formula, and you can always use that at any time that you want. All right. So really, the first method and the second method are shortcuts. These are actually shortcuts. All right, so really, factoring and square root methods are shortcuts. All right, so let's look at the next problem. All right, so first example, now we're solving, so that means if you're solving, you want to always set equal to 0, which it is. All right, so we have A is 6, B is 0, C is negative 12. Since B is 0, I'm going to use the square root method. I'm going to use number 2. All right, so here we go. So I'm going to add 12 to both sides. So I get 6x squared equals 12. Divide both sides by 6. So I get x squared is equal to 2. Then I take the square root. All right, so we took the square root of both sides. So now we have x is equal to plus and minus square root of 2. And there's my solution. Radical 2 cannot be simplified. All right, let's go to the next example. All right, it is equal to 0. We have A is 1, B is 4, so we have A is 1. Oh my gosh. A is 1, B is 4, C is 29. So we can't use the second method. All right, so we can try by factoring. Factors of 29, which is, all right, factors of 29 are 1 and 29, so therefore that's not factorable, so we got to use the quadratic formula. So, all right, so the square root would be negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. So b is 4, should be negative 4 plus or minus the square root of negative 4 squared minus 4 times a times c all over 2 times a, which is 2. All right, so you simplify what's in the radical. All right, plus or minus the square root of, let's see, negative 4 squared is positive 16. This will always be positive. Minus 4 times 1 times 29. So let me turn on my calculator. All right, clear. So we want to do negative 4 times 29. Negative 116. So that's negative 116 all over 2. So we get negative 4 plus and minus square root of 100, negative 100, all over 2. So see, simplify the radical. So we get negative 4 plus or minus. Square root of 100 is 10. And since we have a negative, so it becomes I all over 2. And you notice all three parts here are all divisible by 2. So we're going to divide each of those by 2. So negative 4 divided by 2 is, let me erase some of my work. I'm going to erase this. Okay, so we get negative 2 plus and minus 10 divided by 2 is 5. 2 divided by 2 is 1, so we can just put it over 1 if you want. But your answer is negative 2 plus or minus 5i. All right, another example. So we got to get it's equal to 0, so we got to add 49 to both sides. So we get 4x squared plus 28x plus 49 is equal to 0. Sorry for the crappy handwriting. Now I'm going to try factoring here. The reason why I'm going to try it is this is the only reason. This right here is a perfect square of 4, because that's 2 times 2. 49, that's a perfect square, that's 7 times 7. Usually when your A and your B or your C are perfect squares like that, usually there's a good chance it's factorable. So I'm going to go ahead and try it. So we got, let's see here, so I'm going to do 2x and 7. 2x and 7. All right. So 1 of 2's goes here, 1 of 7's goes here, and the other ones go right there. Now we're adding, so both signs would be the same, they'll both be positive. All right. So, and that does work. So I set that equal to 0. Now, since it works, I'm going to take each of these. 2x plus 7 is equal to 0. The reason I'm not doing both is because they're both the same. So I just need to do it once. So now I can go ahead and solve that. All right, so I subtract 7 from both sides. So I get 2x is equal to negative 7. Divide both sides by 2. Therefore, I get x is equal to negative 7 over 2. And there you go. All right, another example. All right, so I'm going to get these all on the same side. So let's go ahead and subtract 3u squared. And I'm going to add 10u to both sides. All right, so here I get negative 5u squared plus 10u plus 5. I can't add these because they're not like terms. All right, if you notice, all parts are divisible by 5. So I'm going to divide everything by 5. So I get negative w squared plus 2w plus 1 is equal to 0. Okay. Now, factors of 1 that if I add will give me 2. That's 1 and 1. If I add them, yes, that works. So this is factorable. So, oh, actually, before I do that, let me subtract. Let me multiply everything by negative. So I'm going to do w squared minus 2w minus 1 is equal to 0. All right, so factors of 1 that I subtract is 2. That's not possible. That doesn't work. All right, that means I got to use the quadratic formula. So here, A is 1, B is negative 2, and C is negative 1. So negative b, so be positive 2 plus or minus the square root of negative 2 squared minus 4 times a times c all over 2 times a, which is 2. All right, so that gives me 4 inside there, so it'll be 4. And remember, that's always positive. Negative 4 times 1 times negative 1 is positive 4. And I get 2 plus or minus square root of 8 all over 2. Now this can be simplified. That's radical 4 and radical 2. So let me finish it up here. So we get 2 plus or minus 2 square root of 2 all over 2. Right here, all 3 parts right here are all divisible by 2. So I'm going to divide them all by 2. So when I do that, I get 2 divided by 2 is 1 plus or minus 1 radical 2 over 1. So there's my answer. All right, last one. I think this is the last one. Yes, last one. So I'm going to subtract 1 and add v to both sides. Subtract 1 and add v to both sides. So negative 9v squared plus 36v minus 31 is equal to 0. All right, so you can try factoring this using the hard AC, or just, since it's a large number, I'm just going to use the quadratic formula. All right, so b is 36, so it'll be negative 36 plus or minus the square root of 36 squared minus 4 times a times c all over 2 times a. All right, so we got negative 36 plus minus. All right, let's use a calculator and see what we got on the inside here. Okay, so let's see if I can move this over. There we go. So we got 36 squared, so it'll be 30. Let me turn it on. Turn on. Come on, turn on. Sorry. There we go. All right, 36 squared minus 4 times negative 9 times negative 31. And we get 180. So 180 we get over negative 18. So 180, that is, let's see, let's check. Perfect square, so let's divide that by 9. All right, let's see here, let's divide 180. Let's see here. Let's divide that by 36. Let's see if that works. You get 5, so it's 36 times 5. So this right here is 36 times 5. So we have negative 36 plus and minus. Square root of 36 is 6. Square root of 5 all over negative 18. Sorry about my handwriting here, so let's simplify that. See what number can go into 36, 6, and 18. 6 does, so negative 36 divided by 6 is negative 6. Plus and minus, you get 6 divided by 6 is 1, so that gives me a radical 5. And negative 3. And there you go.